Hello, Teresa Phelps Martin here to bring you the energetic signature so you can be real, be true, and be soulfully you. Please know this is just intuitive guidance based on the cosmos, so you can consciously choose the way to show up in your life, engage, and be real, and be true, and be soulfully you. So I'm switching things up a little bit with the energetic signature. We're gonna do it week by week. So I'm gonna do Friday forecasts. They will always be uploaded by one, assuming everything goes well. And these forecasts are here just to help you get, it's your 7-day forecast, get an idea of what the climate is. The overarching theme for the month, however, is a lot of water and fire. Water is that energy of soul in the belly of ourselves, in the womb of who we truly are. How we transmute the energy of our life, we bring it in, and then we give it back out to nourish and feed and support. Fire energy is this bold, this loud, this shine forward, the truth of who we are. It is our heart and soul kind of month. And I think that's just a brilliant timing to switch things around a little bit. So know that we are in this continuing this cycle of refinement, and this refinement of adjusting to the major changes that we have been mandated. The changes of a global pandemic, right? And the idea of just things aren't the way they were. Now, I don't want to get too caught up in the current politics because a lot is being broken down. And that breaking down, I'm just going to plant this, is because there's so much energy of trying to hold on to an egoic style of power. And if we really get to the root of all things are love. Love does not judge. Love is accepting and welcoming, and love takes in and puts its arms around it and then shines it back out. This is the theme of July, and if you can anchor yourself into this in this first few days of this month, it'll help you kind of move through the bumps, because it's bumpy, but it's also brilliant. July 1st. Big energy, big kind of battling sort of energy that is very egoic, very much of the individual drive, me versus you, this tendency to get separate from the truth, separated from love, separated from the billions of hearts that live on this earth, where every single one of them has a right to choose how they want to live. And that's a big statement. So if we can live from that nurturing, we're going to have to, that soul love means we have to self-love. And this is what the Cancer energy is. So the first couple of days, we're in this new moon cycle of Cancer, okay? So in the first couple of days, the moon is in Leo. Okay, Leo energy is big, it's bright, it's bold, it's that authenticity, it's the radiance of the sun. It shines unconditionally. So I'm coming back to this love thing. The sun is in Cancer. All right, so we're in this new lunation. We're just getting it going. And in this new lunation, it's really this chance to look at where that Cancerian energy is in your chart. And I should just do a separate recording of how to look at your chart. But so side note, if you really want that separate recording, put it in the comments, let me know, and I will create. But it's hard to just create and offer into the void because it's a lot of work, okay? So that Cancerian energy is that part of how we nourish our private inner worlds. And when we tend to our inner worlds, we need boundaries, okay? And those boundaries come from our values and our priorities. So it doesn't mean we mandate that others live by our values and our priorities. It means we have, like, think of your home. You have a roof, walls, windows. You allow the light in, hopefully the air flows, you're protected so you feel safe, and then you can nourish yourself. You rest, you sleep, you connect, you retreat enough to restore and receive the energy of the world, and then you step back out. This is Cancerian energy. So the Cancer lunation is really asking us to have big love within ourselves and baby step to know the opportunities are there. Be sure to read the soul scopes in the Facebook group or on Instagram in the Soulfully You. They're there to help you understand the flavor. You want to read your rising sign because that's where the Cancer moon is in your natal chart. This is why you read your rising. So it will resonate with your sun. Please know that. But it is where you want to recognize that this moon is asking you to see what's being illuminated, what seeds can be planted, what you can initiate. And this is very much important because when the sun is in Cancer, the sun answers to the moon. The moon moves quickly. We have a month. And so this moon being in Leo, we're ready to roar, to shine, to be bold, to be dramatic. The low side of Leo is that drama. And Leo energy, believe it or not, it's unconditional, so it's actually a little shy. It just shines. It's not loud and talkative and having to be bold and in charge. A healthy Leo energy is where it just allows its light to shine out into the world and to illuminate for others, to illuminate the day, to really be like the sun. Just meditate on the idea of the sun. So it's interesting, right? We're starting the month off with this energy of sun and moon, okay? The sun being in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, and the moon being in Leo, which is ruled by the sun. So they can change places, okay? I can't remember the technical term, but I don't think you guys are too concerned about that. Now with that, the sun's answering to the moon is answering to the sun. We have a big, feisty, fiery transit, which is the masculine energy and the very sort of egoic, fiery sign of Aries, which is really, if we go from a soul perspective of what Aries is just that we all contain the sacred spark, the divine spark of love within us. And so what does Mars want to do? It wants to carry it forward. And then this challenging aspect, it's a square, it's a 90-degree angle with Pluto that's in retrograde in Capricorn, which is breaking down the structures, is asking us to re-examine the wisdom we've been inherited and how can we be the disciples of truth to rebuild. So how can we take the drive of the divine spark within and not so much battle and be at war, because typically Mars square Pluto is, Mars has to answer to Pluto. Pluto's in charge, and it's usually aspects of war, inner war, outer war. So notice the battles. They're going to be battles of ego, battles of who's right, who's wrong, and can you allow yourself come back to love? Can you look at what still needs to be transformed, what still needs to be rebuilt, and how can you adjust so that you adjust with that energy of love to step forward? This is how the month begins. This is big. And just know that this is a transit that's going to influence some time, because Mars will shift into Taurus on the 4th of July, and it'll shift into a much more reality check, settled energy. Mars takes 2 years to move around the chart. And the last time Mars was at the final points of Aries, final degrees of Aries, is when the capital was ambushed. Fortunately, Mars shifted into Taurus and things settled and dissipated pretty quickly. But isn't interesting that in politics, and I don't like being political, that we're reviewing that ambush right now, 2 years later, with Mars at that same point in Aries, squaring Pluto in Capricorn, that deals with government structures. So just food for thought. Do not get caught up, do not get passionate, do not get angry at me. These are real-time events based on the sky, and it's just, to me, really interesting and fascinating when you know these deeper details of the cosmos. So realize this is an energy that's going to be playing out for some time. And so what baby step can you take where you're aligned with the way you take action, but you're aligned with that divine spark of universal love, where you can actually have healthy boundaries to nurture and tend to yourself and then step outward. Okay? So tomorrow, which is July 2nd. I don't know when you're watching this, but it's tomorrow for me. We still have the moon in Leo, okay? So that big, bold, bright energy is still there. We're gonna still feel the energy of this Mars square Pluto, but then we have a challenge of just air energy being like supported. It's called a trine, where we're gonna have easier communication with this way we want to rebuild and restructure, how we're looking at our own lives. Remember, the moon's in Leo, so it's time to be playful, it's time to be loving, it's time to honor that bright light within yourself and just be radiant, unconditional, without the expectation that the world has to do something for you. You get to be you deserve to have your needs met, to feel safe, to be nourished, but you're gonna have to choose to take those actions. So there's this really sweet energy of giving you this reality check from a higher vantage point, that big picture energy, and then notice the contracts and the conversations and the communication and the messages that come through. So we'll honor that, give yourself that time to be in that great expansive movement forward, but from that higher vantage point. And then later in the day, we have then this question mark of, is it real? Is it true? What is real? What is true? And these are strong energies because they conflict each other, right? So we have this harmonious moment of like, oh yeah, that makes great sense. We can really ignite those intentions of the new moon on the 2nd and start to put them into action. And what I would encourage you to do is, rather than listen to the world around you, really tune into the messages of your intuition, of meditate, go for a walk, play, pause and witness the collective and the commotion of the collective, and then move inward and really heighten your connection to your own intuition. Even if the messages are blurry, even if they don't make sense, just hold the space for it. Because then the moon will move into Virgo, okay? We're at July 3rd. The moon moves into Virgo, and Virgo energy is about our habit. For me, it's the seva, right? It's our dharma, it's seva. It's how we can be of service into the world, how our daily actions, so it's a great day to look at health, your taxes, how you're cleaning up your house, get organized, do the things that really help fuel the boundaries that this month is asking us to tend to. Get clear on your values, get clear on your priorities. Watch the tendency to overanalyze and criticize what's happening, because that is a low vibe energy. That energy is trying to get you to separate from that divine energy of truth. So you want to feel that Virgoan energy of like, how can I make it better? It is enough. It's good enough, but how can I make it better? How can my engagement in my daily life support this unfolding, support this connection to soul love? Soul love means you go into yourself. Soul water energy, the womb, the breast, Cancerian energy. Heart love is that fire energy. It is just There it is. Fire is essential, right? Like if you get into some of the sacred texts, it's sun, moon, and fire, okay? Because the fire we cannot, without water we cannot, without earth we cannot exist. And fire is essential. It is where our heart beats and pumps the blood through us. So you want to look at that health, you want to look at those boundaries, you want to go inward and take care of yourself. Okay, and what is really interesting is that then we have this subtle energy with our mind, with Mercury and Gemini, having that sort of duality, quick thinking, move fast, with this little like, hey, remember, we're rebuilding. It's this, I'm doing an elbow nudge. We're rebuilding. We're, should I nudge Prosper? My companion keeps me anchored. And like, I know I'm going to sidetrack and then come back, but this is the subtleties of this transit of Mercury, quintile, Pluto, retrograde. So fast thinking, moving really slow. Prosper is by Lilian, an Asian porcelain artist who's from China, which is what I studied in college, was Chinese landscape painting, and presented to graduate a whole paper as a good old 21-year-old in the quality of life. And here I am giving you insights of how to improve the quality of life for yourself and for others so that you can be true to yourself and have the freedom to breathe. So there's this little subtle, like, how can you tune in on the 3rd, on Sunday, to those subtle little hints of like, actually, you're thinking fast. How can you think differently about the way we're rebuilding? Okay, how can you ground those ideas that have come through that were reality check and your intuition, and actually give them a little structure to rebuild from a place of wisdom? All right, and then come the 4th, this is a big energetic shift. So we have these big movement at the start of the month, right? Like at the start of the month, we have the moon in Leo, then it goes into Virgo, these transits. And then on the 4th, Mars enters Taurus, which is a fixed earth sign. It's gonna be like, ooh, okay, now we can ground. That passion, that charge, that drive. Anybody who has strong Aries in their chart, you're gonna feel a little like, oh, like that big jolt you've had, you're gonna feel a little chill. And Taurus, for that change that you've been going through, you're gonna feel reignited. But it's grounding, okay? So it's like, yes, love, divine spark. I've got this drive. Now, how do I really give it shape and form? So that's a big energetic shift, because Mars is a masculine planet and it moves into a feminine sign and it gets slowed down. Does Mars really love being in Taurus? No, but if you can take the mindful concept of go slow to go fast, this is the energy. And then what we also have is Mercury moves into Cancer. Mercury moves into Cancer, where all of a sudden we can put words to how we feel. And this is soul love. Being able to understand your inner landscape and be with it, feel into it. Like that emotional landscape that has a narrative. So that's a big shift from the quick, fast thinking, seeing both sides, having both sides go after it, having that individual drive. We drop into this feminine energy, because then we have the sun and Mercury in water signs and Neptune retrograde in a water sign. And then we have Mars and Uranus in the North Node and an earth sign. We have Pluto in an earth sign. So all of a sudden that fiery scent kind of settles down. So this is the idea of soul love. At this point, by the time we get to the 4th, be aware, we celebrate freedom, we celebrate independence. Anchor yourself, ground yourself. Be allowing of the shift of energy, and just choose mindfully of how you engage. Wonderful opportunity is most of the United States of America has the day off, unless you work at a pool, right? Or a vacation spot. So it's a time of rest, of renewal. And we have the moon in Virgo. So it's really asking us to do that justice, to be of service to the slowing down energy. And so whatever you can do to just like pull back. Maybe it's just give yourself 3 times during the day where you anchor yourself. If you're somebody who practices grounding cords, make this an intention. Just whatever it is that you do that you can settle into and feel. And then come the 5th, we have the moon will shift from that Virgo energy into Libra. And what we have is we have this movement into the first quarter moon, because the moon will be at its opening square, that 90-degree angle. The first quarter moon will be in Libra on the 6th. So we have a shift of energy on the 5th from that kind of do good, get it done, make it happen, tidy it up, so that we can really be in relationship with the beauty. And be in relationship with the beauty of that soul love, like coming home to love, right? And then that first quarter moon is valuing your intuition, because if you've come home to love, you can hear so much clearly. You can respect the beauty. You can value your own nature. We can find a sense of harmony. So this is the high vibe. There's coherence. There's trust. However, when the sun is like, well, I'm still over here taking my time caring for myself. I know I skipped over July 5th. This is just, I'll go backwards and come forward again. It's the moon is in Virgo, and then it's going to move into Libra. So we just feel the moon moves fast. You may not even notice these, but it's like we feel this earth energy, and then we get into the expansiveness of the mind. So you might find yourself socializing a lot more, traveling, moving again, and getting things going. And in that, there's this idea of beauty as therapy, right? And that sort of, if you're going to value your intuition, then that you enhance your inner world, okay? Go inward, check in, and beauty is therapy. Make something more beautiful. This is the energy of Libra. This is what's being asked of us to see that there's 2 sides, but Libra has that line, and it's the Omega sign. It's actually Libra, and they took it for Omega. It's the setting of the sun on the horizon. It's called the golden hour, right? So how can you connect to the gold of your own heart? Be conscious of it, see it in each other, so that when you hit the speed bump, because opening squares are the journey and the first kind of hurdle, the first kind of obstacle. So this Mars square Pluto that's happening at the beginning of the month, that really ignites the theme of July, reminds us to go like, oh yeah, come back to soul love. Come back to your intention for the new moon. Come back to the boundaries, your priorities, your values. Give yourself the room, the space to go inward, settle, organize, regroup, so that when you step out, you bring the beauty forward, you bring that light forward. And so when July 6th is that quarter moon, and we'll feel that energy into the 7th as well, because the moon is in Libra. So the moon will move through fire, earth, and air energy this first week, but we have this heavy energy of clashing, okay? So boundaries. The sun will be in Cancer this whole time. So it's about nourishment, soul care, sacred care. Tend to your house, tend to your family, tend to your loved ones. Tend to the love within yourself on a cellular level. Also know, it's so hard for me to keep this into a week, right? So the next week we'll go in and it'll carry us into the full moon. It's really about, to my opinion, honoring the way we're all controlling the feminine, right? So including myself, right? There needs to be more acceptance. There needs to be more respect and honor to the fact that she is sacred. This is divine. This is the divine feminine, okay? Like some of you know, but my prayer is divine mother and father of the cosmos, the divine masculine, the divine feminine, which my son was cute because he was asking this whole question about God and how does God know and all these things, which I love. And we had the conversation of, he just assumed God was a man. Maybe God is, but I think God is just ever present. It is this opportunity to be around. And so this is in the encouragement to define your sense of spirituality and take it in so you can actually create the fabric of your being by living that. This is the idea of being real, being true, and being soulfully you. That full moon, when it happens, it's going to be 180 degrees. It's a different perspective to help us come back into ourselves. So how can you go? Capricorn is a feminine, not a female. Capricorn is a feminine energy, right? It is that fierce energy of the feminine where the wisdom comes through, and it is the building and the structure. And Cancer energy is the womb. Capricorn energy are the bones of our being, right? So how are we giving birth to the bones of our life, the structures of our life? How can we allow that wisdom of what needs to be healed? Cancer season is, especially right now, the raw wounds of our hearts are being exposed. So it's really important talk therapy. Having a coach, having a guide, having somebody else to hold space for you as you process these deep pains. And I'll tell you what, this Mars square Pluto energy, everything's getting triggered. Know that joy can get triggered as well. So enjoy. When joy shows up, do not minimize it. When pain shows up, don't maximize it nor minimize it. We really want to be in this dance. This is the energy of the first square, because this lunation, we hit each lunation. We have the moon in Cancer, the moon in Libra, the moon in Capricorn, the moon in Aries. So we have the first quarter in Libra. The new moon was in Cancer. The first quarter is in Libra. The full moon's in Capricorn. The last quarter moon is in Aries. It's hitting all the cardinal energies. And it hasn't been like this for a long time. So we're in this whole reset and this reflowing and this things coming together. So remember soul love. Remember we're in a place of refinement. Remember to go inward and tend to your inner being, because that's where healing happens. We're being asked to heal great wounds that have been buried, that we've inherited, but also that we've kept silent, and give it a voice. Give it that chance to speak it forward. Speak forward your needs. It doesn't mean speak forward the finger pointing of how everybody's supposed to be. You get to be you. You get to be true to you. And you get to be soulfully you. So that's how July starts. I went a little longer than I had hoped because I want you to feel the flavor of what we're moving through with this new lunation and with this new month. So I'll come back next Friday forecast for you, where you can just feel that energy to tune in. Hopefully on Fridays, it gives you a chance to listen, to marinate, and then set forward that schedule. I will say that Sundays are great days to just tap into your light, and because the moon's in Virgo, to really give order to how you want the rest of the month to unfold. Thank you for tuning in. If this resonates, please comment. I know you guys think I just love to offer out and spew from the heart, which I do. However, when I'm just by myself, the only way I know this is supportive is by your comments, by your likes. And you know what? The connection is what we all need. And that connection, I'm starting to hurt, so I apologize. That connection is essential. So my healing continues because of the conversations we get to have. So if this is helpful, please let me know. And movement wise, this is a really great, think of the beginning of a yoga class. Keep your movement simple. Keep it delightful. Keep it in that sort of like, oh yeah, man, that stretch feels good. Side body, simple hip openers, gentle twist, sweet forward bends, and then start to add that flow. To meditate, be in that place where you journal or you just sit out under the stars and let the stars be your guides and speak out into the universe what you need. Call it in. Okay. So, in love, soul love, care for yourself, reach out to your loved ones. Let me know how you're doing. And know that readings, right? I call them soul sessions because I show up as a coach. I show up with that emotional support. So they're hard for me just to call them readings. I am moving towards really owning that, being an astrological counselor, but I'm just baby stepping my way there. So they are astrological counseling sessions that get to the soul by looking at your chart. They're $88. There was a time that my coaching sessions were $200. But that became inaccessible, and I just went through an experience of being let go from a group because I couldn't afford the level of what she promised, right? We were promised a price point, and then she raised it for whatever reason she needed to. But pretty much if you couldn't meet that, you had to leave. And I just, this is the Mars square Pluto, and I'm still talking. That is the trigger inside that reminds me, I want your ability to connect to yourself to be accessible, so that the readings are at $88. And that's it. Be real, be true, be soulfully you. Like, comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe, share it. And if you want access to where the juice really is, it is in Facebook. It is in the Soulfully You group on Facebook, because that is the easiest place for me. I am at capacity with my own healing. And so I don't have a team of enormous people to help me create the content and post it and stay on top of it. So if you want daily inspiration, Soulfully You Facebook group. It is a private group, but it is free. Be well and be you, and take care. Take good baby step sacred care. Pause, breathe, ground, and I will see you next week.